Well, it looks like Xbox has decided to drop the price of their games overall, not just taking just one game, but all their holiday season games are going to be dropping back down to $70, starting with one of their most prominent games that they showcased in 2025. And the game making that first announcement is actually Outer Worlds 2, mentioning that their pre-order price has dropped from $79.99 to $69.99, the classic price we've been known for since, 2020 when that price hike first happened. This is kind of wild because this backtrack is a drastic one to make, and it wasn't that long ago when they actually made the announcement saying that they were looking to actually raise the price to $79.99 just a little over 2 months ago. So what's causing Microsoft to do that backtrack to go, okay, no, we'll just go back to $70, even though various games like Nintendo with Mario Kart going to $80, and we all know that GTA 6 is going to $80 at least. I mean, we've even heard rumors of GTA 6 going up to $100, and actually Strauss Zelnick actually addressed this discussion and wasn't really that forward with his answer, saying that the company's always adopted a variable pricing policy. So not every game is treated equal to them. But back on the Microsoft side of things here, because they actually got a quote over here on Windows Central, who actually had some information directly from Microsoft talking about why they're doing this step back when it comes to the pricing model. We'll go into it a little bit later in this video about why that really could be the case. But for now, let's go into what Microsoft says, saying we're focused on bringing players incredible worlds to explore, and we'll keep our full price holiday releases, including Outer Worlds 2, at $69.99, in line with current market conditions. This is where I'm happy about this news. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad to see that the price reduction actually happened right there, but things becoming more expensive, especially around the world, right? Especially in the United States as well, from my personal experience, that $70 to $80 games really does make a big difference when it comes to what people are choosing to play. But there's a reason why I brought up all these other games going up in price, because with this one line at the end, which seems really contradictory to what we're seeing out there in the market, saying in line with market conditions, that saying that $70 is the standard. But I think what's actually starting to happen with this industry now is that I think that probably the high-end AAA games where they put a lot of investment in, you probably will see the $80 mark. But other games out there have been showing that $40, $50 model actually does work out in a successful way. Take Expedition 33, which has been doing incredibly well, likely will win Game of the Year, and has sold very well. And you look at the pricing of it, I mean, the maximum price of it was $49.99 currently on sale at the moment, but you kind of see where games like this, where managed properly and properly scoped, and at a price point that's below actually industry standard, can be successful. And for the people out there who have already pre-ordered Outer Worlds 2, they do mention here that if you have pre-ordered Outer Worlds 2 for $79.99 price point, you will get a refund of the purchase that will be sent to you guys. So no worries on that one. But I think I'm wondering if a big concern is possibly the reach that Outer Worlds 2 has had when it comes to getting those pre-orders, right? Because Xbox banked heavily on this game to be the big fall release for the brand, right? I mean, that's why we saw it here with the Xbox showcase getting that huge extra direct showcase. They give you a real in-depth look in the game. And maybe, I'm assuming on this one, we haven't heard any information directly, but I can only assume where if you're willing to drop the price so soon after making an announcement of the $80 move, that I'm thinking that pre-orders are probably not doing that great. And while I would say that Outer Worlds 2 does look like a good game, the first one was received very well, and which then obviously lent itself to getting a sequel approved. But I don't know if this game really had what it takes to really get the general gaming audience interest. I think fans of Outer Worlds 1 will probably like this game just as much, if not even more. It does seem like a big step in the direction of expanding what Outer Worlds 1 has to offer, because if you remember, the first Outer Worlds game was kind of a shorter game. Looking on the How Long to Beat website, which are pretty accurate on gameplay experiences, saying main story is about 13 hours. Main story and size, which are probably the majority of people who be playing the game, about 26 hours or so. Not too crazy long, but what this game really did a great job of was filling that gap that Bethesda wasn't accomplishing, which was having a solid RPG type of experience. A lot of people refer to this game as basically feeling like Fallout, but in space. And so that's maybe what Xbox was hoping to do with this franchise, would be kind of like their Fallout, and then they ended up buying Fallout, you know? So it's kind of funny how the whole thing kind of turned out right there. But it'd be very interesting to see how this game actually performs. I don't have crazy high hopes for this game. I don't think it's gonna be up for Game of the Year or anything like that. I don't see this game really like being like some bombshell that's gonna like be able to, do gangbusters in sales. I don't see it, failing or anything like that. I think it's just gonna do solid, and maybe lowering that price down to $69.99 will help people make that jump more likely into the franchise, and maybe even kind of saying like, hey, you see what GTA is doing, you see what Nintendo's doing, and all these other games out here are going up to $80. Well, we're doing $70 because we're Microsoft and we can do the better deals. Maybe that's their thought process. I don't know. I'm kind of filling in gaps here of what we're seeing right now, because I see inconsistencies of what Xbox has said and done, and now what they're doing. And so I wanted to just talk about that. But this is a step in the right direction. I'm glad to see that this is very pro-consumer, especially after all the negative news we've heard from Xbox the last few months, which we covered here on the channel. To see something positive happen, I'm happy about that. Guys, if you enjoyed this type of videos, like, subscribe is always appreciated. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.